And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to M&Ms Superspeedway as we get ready to continue on with the All-Star Race weekend now with the Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star Race. 25 drivers, 25 laps, all the same thing that we had in the Truck Series race, except some different drivers, but we still got Dillon Poteet with us as well.
Yeah, I'm back, and I'm ready for another race, and like I said, 25 cars once again. It's keeping the trend going this weekend. We're looking for a good race. We had a great truck race and saw Stephen Pollard III pick up the victory and get the All-Star win there. And looking for another maybe up-and-coming driver to win today, or maybe we'll see a veteran pull it off again today here at Coca-Cola.
And we got Jake Rogers on the pole position. Of course, all these drivers starting where they qualified during the qualifying session, with the exception of the drivers starting at the rear of the field. Of course, the two drivers that transferred in, Sean Henley and George Roque. And then our fan vote winner, who got in by just one vote over the rest of the competition, and that, of course, is Aaron Williams Jr. So how about those drivers starting at the back? How do you think they're going to be as far as going up against these guys who actually locked themselves into this race via wins?
Well, I think they'll have a chance. This is different than the trucks, and these drivers already raced a little bit, so they know kind of a little bit ahead of time what to expect. Kind of like what I said in the truck series, they have pre-race experience before this, and I expect them to run pretty well. We saw people like Danny Wells and a couple others run well in the truck race that got in, through the fan vote and just getting into the transfer spots. So these drivers aren't going to be afraid to mix it up with these drivers that locked themselves into this race, and I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one or two of them up at the front battling for the win at the end of this.
We got a couple of drivers here who they ended up having some previous Mobil1 Cup Series experience, but they're in one-race deals here this season. Zach Buchanan lining up on the outside of the front row. He, of course, won last year at Charlotte. We've also got the 44 back in this field with Drew Austin, who was able to beat out Sean Henley back, I believe it was at Homestead. And then we've also got Luke Martin in this field, who ended up winning back at, as I'm looking here, he won back at Atlanta. How about these guys? They got nothing to lose. Do you think we're going to see them up at the front for a majority of the day?
You could see some of them maybe try to stay at the front, but maybe some will try to stay in the back because there's going to be a wreck possibly happening at any point in this race. It could happen on the first lap, it could happen on the last lap in the final turn, or on the front straightaway. So these drivers are really going to have to strategize and figure out what they're going to want to do to be in a position to win this race. So I expect them to probably be about front and the back. Some, if they're qualified up front, like the 81 Zach Buchanan qualified well, probably want to stay toward the back until the end.
All right, we ended up seeing in the Truck Series race where a few drivers ended up kind of rolling the dice, coming down pit road early. Then we saw some others rolling the dice coming down late, and it ended up, as we saw, with Stephen Pollard III working out with that late pit strategy, even though they did come down under a caution flag. Do you think that these drivers took some notes and are going to try and utilize that same strategy today?
I mean, the pit strategy is definitely going to be a factor. Like I said, those guys got very lucky that first race we had, and coming in pit road and everything when you decide to pit could play key in this race if you're going to be in contention or not. So look for these guys to help and lose the draft and possibly go a lap down.
All right, well, we're going to get these cars rolling off. They're going to complete a couple of pace laps, and while they do that, Dylan and I are going to scratch our heads, try and come up with who we think is going to be able to, out of this 25-car field, go to victory lane here in the 6th annual Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star Race.
I just squeaked. Oh.
Getting ready to go under the green flag now, and it's time now for Dylan and I to make our picks on who we think is going to win this Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star Race. Dylan, who are you looking at?
Well, I was looking at it when we were talking about last season, and I happened to be here for it too. We saw the Masons hook up, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing to happen with Ralph and Wolfgang doing that. Ralph went on to win. I feel like that might possibly change hands in maybe a reverse order today. Maybe Ralph will be the one pushing Wolfgang Mason today to victory lane. So I'm expecting maybe to see the 82 pull it off today and seeing Wolfgang Mason pulling the victory lane today.
Alright, I was looking through this field before they even took to the track, and the one driver I'm really looking at, I've talked a lot about how M&M's is very much like Coca-Cola. James McLeod, past 2 seasons, he's ended up winning at Coca-Cola Speedway. With the similarity of this track and that track, I think James is going to be a big favorite to win here today.
Yeah, and Coca-Cola wasn't that many weeks ago, so it's still fresh in James's head and a lot of these drivers' heads knowing that 34 went to victory lane. McLeod's a good restrictor plate racer, probably a strong point, and yeah, like I said, good friend of mine, and I expect him to do really well at this kind of a track.
Alright then, here we go. Jake Rogers was fastest in qualifying. He'll start in the pole position. And the green flag is waving here in the 6th annual Mobil All-Star Race.
Let's go racing, boys!
A few young faces up in this field too. You got Tyson Broad right there going for 2nd place, and he ended up, I think it was only in like his 2nd or 3rd start, winning at a tough road course of Infineon.
Yeah, that was an unexpected victory for Tyson. We didn't expect him to win that, but Tyson got in this race and doesn't look to be very shy to stay up here at the front and try to run up here and go for the lead on Jake Rogers. He's actually going straight up to the back bumper of that Dodge Challenger. 32 looks mighty fast so far starting off this race.
Let's talk about teammates here. I mean, we've talked about how it's very difficult to stay behind a teammate here with the way these cars slide through the turns. But you got the 20 and the 18 in this field. Of course, you got Dillon Poteet and Sean Henley for Tweenix Racing. Are we going to see teammates work together today, or is it just basically whoever you can find to work with you?
Well, I mean, it's the ideal thing to find a teammate to work with, but probably at this point, if you can find somebody to hook up with, you'll just go right behind them and just work with them. I mean, it's hard to get all these teammates to get together because it takes a lot to get to them. But not for the 20 and 18, they're actually still hooked up to each other. But I expect a lot of these guys, when it comes down to it, just to find whoever they can to work with that maybe give them the best opportunity to go for the win.
Here comes the 18 now going underneath his teammate, and now James Silverfox is going to go 3 wide for the top position. These guys are not getting too nervous about going 3 and 4 wide here early on.
No, it doesn't take that long for these guys to do this, and we see the Open winner, Sean Henley, already coming up to the front, and he has the fan vote winner right beside him now, Aaron Williams Jr. These guys, they started in the back and it only took them a couple laps to get up to the front. Look at that.
I'm not sure. I think I might have just seen the yellow lights on. The caution may be out. Yes, it is. Caution is out.
I'm not sure. Yep.
And I'm not certain. I may have been just seeing things, but I think the 33 of George Roque, who finished 2nd in the Mobil Open, I think I saw him kind of slide off of turn 4. I thought he saved it though, but he might be the reason. Yep.
Yeah, there was. It wasn't a big wreck like we always expect to see. Oh.
33's got damage,
right
and Eric Burton, who won the last points paying events at Riki, he's involved as well.
Yeah, I was expecting to see that 54 up there after winning Riki. That's kind of another kind of a super speedway kind of racetrack, and that's an early exit today for that Monster Energy Toyota right there, and tough race for Eric for sure. And George Roque, unfortunately, he's involved in the wreck as well. Got in the race through the Open, like you said, and tough race for the couples jar. But looks like we actually got away from a big wreck happening at the beginning of the race for once. It was only about a 2, maybe 3 car wreck.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I only see about 2 drivers that really sustained any damage from that, and may have been them kind of crowding each other off of 4. We've seen that a lot. Now we're 3 laps into this thing. Let's see if anybody's going to roll the dice, come down pit road. Yeah, looks like Sean Henley, Aaron Williams Jr., Hester, Broad, Navarrete, Galligan, Luke Martin, Richard Johnson, Daniel Day, and it looks like maybe Danny Wells and George Roque all coming down. Wise strategy or no?
I think it's a good strategy. They can go a couple more laps now, and like I said though, in the truck race, it is still very early for these guys. They won't be able to make it at this point, so you know, maybe just help them get off sequence, maybe give them a chance to do something different than the other drivers, and maybe split this field up and not have to worry about possibly having a big wreck happening. So I think it's a good strategy to come in early. I mean, you got nothing to lose right now. Dropping to the back here and going back to the front. It doesn't take any time to gain your positions back on a super speedway like this. It puts you in the danger of getting in a wreck though, but that's the risk these drivers are taking and trying to get in the best situation to get back into this race and try to win here.
Looks like a total of maybe 12 drivers out of those 25 decided to stay out. James Silverfox is the current leader. We'll jump back now and take a look at a replay of our first caution here in the Mobil All-Star race. Well, they were 5 wide coming off of 4, and the 19, the pole sitter Rogers, the 33 of Roke, and the 54 of Burton, they just got really close.
Yeah, it looks like Jake Rogers could have moved back up, and he decided to come down almost into the door of the 33
look
car.
At the 54
Eric
wheel
Burton
hop.
got airborne. And that's not what you want to be doing at that speed. Oh, God.
Ouch.
He hit that wall a ton.
And that was the driver's side that hit. Holy cow.
And Roke took a heck of a lick right there, too, on the front of his car. But, man, Eric Burton, he hit an awful spot of the wall. That's such a high amount of speed. His car going to slide all the way up, almost probably back to the back, or almost back to the outside wall.
Yeah, the angle of that wall just shot him back up on the racetrack.
Look at the damage on the driver's side of that car. That's a lot of damage. He actually does hit the wall. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Man, and he must have been going at least probably at 180 miles per hour when he hit that wall. That was a tough lick.
How that was looking, they almost looked like the angle of Steve Parkindale Jr. from Pocono a while back when they went flying through the infield and hit the wall. I know it wasn't a guardrail. They hit a wall a ton right there, and that just looked like the same kind of speed and everything, just same scenario. That was an awful lick for the 54.
And he wheel hopped when that car made the transition from the racetrack down there onto the apron, too, so he had no control over that Toyota.
That car could have easily have tipped over, too. That could have been a lot worse than it was, but still a heavy hit for that 54 of Eric Burton and tough breaker him and George Roke.
Well, we haven't done it yet this weekend. We're going to go on board with the 54 of Eric Burton and see just exactly what he saw. Here we are on board with Eric Burton. Let's see what he saw. Watch how he and the 33 just kind of crowd each other.
Like I said, Jake Rogers and Roke kind of crowd each other. And the 54 did get right to the 33 fender. Wow, that was a hard impact right there.
That is, and you can see there the car just kind of wobbling back and forth. That was the wheel hop. Absolutely no control. His car was actually off the ground about 2 or 3 times.
And there's a good chance that car was almost at 200 miles an hour to hit that wall. There's no telling how fast he was going, but that was just an intense hit right there for Eric Burton. Tough break.
Yeah, just to put it into perspective, you look there up there at the ticker, James Silverfox, who led that lap, was going 222 miles per hour. So you're right. Eric Burton must have at least been going 200.
Yeah, that was a heavy hit right there. Hope he's okay, but that's an early exit for Eric Burton, our last winner here in the Mobil1 Cup Series, and I don't know, that's just terrible luck right there for that team.
Early exit from the Mobil1 All-Star race for the driver of the 54. We'll head back now to Green Flag Racing. Getting ready to go back under the green flag. We're currently on lap 6 of 25. We'll go back to green on lap 7 of 25, giving us a total of 19 laps to go. Some drivers did not make pit stops under that last caution, and they are the leader, James Silverfox, Hayden Klein in second, third place Ralph Mason, fourth place currently Zach Buchanan with Jake Rogers up in fifth now, sixth Joseph Bryant, seventh James McLeod, Adam Chambers in 8th, 9th Dylan Young, and Trent Dunham is in 10th. 11th place is Drew Austin, Daniel Day is in 12th, 13th is Dillon Poteet, and Wolfgang Mason 14th. Top 14 did not pit. Rest of the top 20 are Aaron Williams Jr., Sean Henley, Emilio Navarrete, Jordan Hester, Luke Martin. Let's go through the rest of the field here. Tyson Broad, Sean Galligan, Richard Johnson, Danny Wells, and George Roke has returned to the racetrack, even with a damaged race car. Only one driver out of the race, and that, of course, is Eric Burton. So maybe, just maybe, this caution may have these drivers come to their senses, not race as hard now, you think?
There's a possibility, but these drivers definitely don't want to end up like the 54 just was. And these guys are just trying to maybe, hopefully they'll mind their manners now, and they'll actually try to race each other a little bit cleaner and give a lot of room. Those 5 and 6 wide situations, they're always asking for trouble, and usually it happens off that final corner here, and it just didn't happen that time, and they saw the wreck, and hopefully these guys do kind of calm it down and try to just race it out, and we have a clean race the rest of the way.
You know, we talked about the Masons at the beginning of the program, about how they ended up working together to get Ralph Mason to victory lane last season. Both those drivers decided to stay out under that caution. You think they may be working the same strategy, be in the same place at the same time at the end of this race again?
I think so. They could do this to help each other get to pit road at the same time, maybe hook up at the end and possibly see a repeat of last season.
We're going to find out. We still got 19 laps to go as the green flag comes back out. Silverfox, Hayden Klein, Ralph Mason, and then Zach Buchanan, who actually started on the outside of the front row. He's been doing a pretty good job staying back up here at the front.
Yeah, but now we get a freight train all going to the bottom, trying to freight train that 31 right there. Silver Fox had no friends right there on that restart. They all just go for the bottom and just leaving that Transformers 31 up on the high side.
Yeah, James Silver Fox slipping. He may have actually tried slipping to the back for strategy here, though. You never know.
Yeah, they're actually, the middle lane's now freight train. He's up on the very high side. He's going straight to the back. He could be getting behind cars to draft, because, you know, draft does save fuel here. Silver Fox may be trying to get into a window and try to make it on maybe one stop and getting the rest of the way. So maybe it's a strategy by the 31.
Very good point there. I mean, we ended up seeing, I think if I remember correctly, I think Zach Rogers was actually the last driver to pit in the Truck Series event, and that was with about, I think it was 7 laps to go or so. So, yeah, he was close on, they were obviously close on fuel, and Silver Fox could be trying to do that, but I don't think those drivers that didn't come down pit road last time, I don't think it's possible for them to make it on only one stop, but we've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, we got a good battle for the lead going right now. We have to have a 4-wide battle for the lead. Daniel Day is going all the way to the bottom under Aaron Williams, Dillon Poteet, and the 81 of Zach Buchanan. He's having a good run right now. Getting the help from Dylan Young right there in the 30. Another good restrictor plate racer.
Daniel Day started out his season really well, his rookie season, winning at Las Vegas. And Dylan Young coming to his inside. He ended up winning 2 races last season, Lime Rock and Indianapolis. Is quite a drag race there at the line. It was Dylan Young just barely beating him out.
Yeah, I just look down at the bottom. I guess Silver Fox maybe isn't doing that after all. They're definitely right back up there. Oh man, they're about to go for 5 wide.
Oh, they are 5 wide. They're 5 wide, 2 rows deep.
Well, I guess they didn't learn their manners.
Oh, and there they go!
Asking for the right to happen. And there they go.
Oh my goodness, it just wasn't going to happen. Oh, my pick McLeod's involved. Zach Buchanan.
Still sliding. There's Aaron Williams. Oh, Zach Buchanan.
Oh, Dillon Poteet. Second straight all-star.
He wrecked again. That idiot.
Oh man. All-Star Race weekend just not been going his way as they got drag race to the line here. 2 Toyotas, Galligan and Hayden Klein. I think Hayden Klein just barely got it.
Well, that was a product of having 5-wide racing a couple lanes deep, and they were just asking for a wreck to happen, and it happened.
Looks like Drew Austin may have gotten involved there in the 44. Winner last year at Homestead. There's the fan vote winner, Aaron Williams Jr.
I'm glad I didn't pick Jimmy now. Now he's not going to be mad at me. And it's ironic that it's actually the 17 and the 34 on pit road together, too. Huh. That's how that worked out.
Yeah, it is quite ironic. There's Zach Buchanan. He was up at the front, started on the front row for this race.
You think about it, there's a couple of drivers right there, Drew Austin, Zach Buchanan. A couple of drivers just here to win. 1 race deals, and both of them having problems now after that wreck. That's a tough race. That's the only reason to be here is to win. And I don't know if you expect to see them probably finishing this race out. They really don't probably see a point in racing this out, but you never know. Anything could happen.
Well, Hayden Klein's currently the leader. We're under our second caution of the day. Nearing the halfway point, let's jump back and look at a replay. Well, here's a look at what happened. They were 5 wide, almost 6 wide back here, and we saw this in the first wreck with George Roque and Eric Burton. The bottom 3 there just kind of squeezing each other there, the 32, 09, and 44.
I looked up there, 17 decided to poke down, try to get under the 5. They're trying to really make it 6 wide right there. McLeod, Williams, Poteet up on the top. Tyson Broad and Ralph Mason look like they might make a little bit of contact. I think it's going to shoot the 09 up the track into Drew Austin right about there.
Yeah, we've seen this domino effect before.
Yep, and it's on from here. And McLeod's going to be the first car to hit. Oh, they were, wow, this is not good. Man. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, just nowhere to go for any of those guys.
The 5 car catches some air right there. The 29 right there, wow, Adam Chambers barely missed that wreck.
And how did Jordan Hester in the 20 slow down in time to avoid this? I mean, good grief, he was right behind it.
I think he was having a mini heart attack when he saw that, too. He probably just hit the brake as instinct, and he probably just had to skip a beat right there. Wow.
Look at the 5. Absolutely no brakes on that car. That car, the wheels are locked up and everything, and he's still sliding.
And these drivers sliding to the grass, you think it would actually stop them. They're actually sliding like it's ice. They're still going. The 81's going to slide into the 5 right here. McLeod is still sliding down the back straightaway. And the 17s are, I think, to a halt already.
No, that car's still sliding, too.
Well, that Catmobile broke.
Wow. And how
They're still sliding.
The driver that won this race a year ago was a little bit involved, but was able to actually drive away. Ralph Mason made a tremendous save.
Yeah, he got very lucky, but he's not going to have that happen probably twice. He better hope he doesn't get around a situation like that again. But terrible crash off turn number 2 this time. We don't see that often off 2. It's usually off 4 we always see it, but never know when a wreck's going to happen on this track. It can happen anywhere, I guess.
Note to these drivers still in the race, don't go 6 wide. It doesn't work, as it brings out our second caution of the day. Let's head back to green flag racing.
Yay!
Get ready to go back to green flag racing. Everybody came down pit road under that caution flag, with Hayden Klein still getting out first as the leader. So I think we can safely say they can make it the rest of the way now, and fuel is just going to be a dash to the finish now.
Yeah, it looks like it, and they're probably going to figure out early in this run who's their friend and who aren't, and who they're going to try to work with. Hayden Klein's in a good spot right now, but the problem is, though, we don't know what those cars behind him are going to do. Probably going to get freight trained. Just the driver's going to try to put themselves in the best position they can before this, and try to maybe stay away from a possible wreck, because it doesn't look like these guys have learned their lessons yet.
No, I don't think so. I mean, when they went 6 wide there after first caution, I'm thinking, wow, they really don't care if they're going to wreck or not. They went really hard into that second turn. As we'll take a look and see how they line up for the restart here. We are now past the halfway point. We'll go back to green on lap 14 of the 25 scheduled laps. Hayden Klein is the leader. One race deal driver Luke Martin. I think he's one of 2 one race deal drivers still in this thing. He's going to restart second. Sean Henley, the open winner, is now up to third. Wolfgang Mason is in fourth. Fifth place could be Joseph Bryant with Sean Galligan sixth. How about George Roque in seventh? That car wrecked in the first caution, and he's up there inside the top 10 now.
I don't know if he must have stayed out or something, but I'm not sure what he's going to do on this restart. I'm pretty sure he was slow, so that could be a spot we need to keep an eye on this restart with those cars behind them, and it could be a possible wreck. We'll see if he actually can keep up with those guys, though, on this restart.
We'll see. Behind him, 8th place could be Emilio Navarrete, Adam Chambers 9th, and 10th place will be Tyson Broad. So as we get ready to go to green here, we will jump back in just a moment and see if indeed George Roque is up to speed, because if he is, that's a miracle those guys have worked on pit road to get that car back up to full speed with the rest of this field.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The draft's going to be his only...
Well, there's the
answer.
answer.
No, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
It's not going to happen.
Everybody's going to move underneath though.
Everybody's
wide
like,
immediately.
Yeah, it looks like that 33 car, his only chance of something happening is if everybody wrecks on the last lap before they even reach the line. Nobody makes it to the line, he does.
Yeah. Looks like
Austin back there was having problems too.
Yeah, he ended up getting a little piece of that incident, I believe. We saw him a little slow. And he did come down pit road under the last caution early, so.
And I think the field got separated into 2 packs when that happened, because I haven't seen beyond Sean Galligan, I haven't seen the other group catch up yet, so that could also play a little bit if they can't catch back up.
Yeah, you're right. Well, they're staying single file right now there with Navarrete, Broad, Rogers, so if they are able to stay single file, I think they will catch up. What they need is up here, what's actually going on, them to race double and 3 wide, and then they'll move right back up and make it a big pack again.
Yeah, it looks like Sean Henley's going for the lead on Hayden Klein and got my pick right behind him. There's Wolfgang Mason. We don't see Ralph Mason anywhere to be found right now, but Wolfgang's up here in position like he was 1 season ago.
Yeah, I don't think at all. I've been looking this whole race. I have not seen the 82 and the 09 in the same general area yet this race, so they are having trouble trying to hook up with each other, but still a little ways to go. They may be able to do it yet, as Galligan now goes underneath of a one-race deal driver, Joseph Bryant, who actually was a chase contender last season.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to see Joseph out here only for a one-race deal after making the chase. Joseph had his things to do, and Joseph back just for this race, trying to pull off a victory today and try to get a win for this 89 team right now.
And I just pulled a fail here.
The pace car is looking pretty good right now.
Oh man, camera fail on my part. I have to hit the control button and the shift button and not the control button. But anyway, now we're looking at Sean Galligan. Now, Galligan is a winner this season at Daytona, and he comes in as the current defending Mobil1 Cup Series champion. He has not, however, won a Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star race, so maybe something else for him to check off his bucket list.
Yeah, probably possibly something he wants to do. I mean, put a lot of emphasis on this race. These guys all want to win it. I think nobody wants to win it probably more than Sean Galligan. He's done basically everything in this series but win this, like you said. So Galligan's put himself in a good position and stayed out of trouble like he always does, seem like, on these plate tracks. And he's up here at the front right now.
How about Jake Rogers there in the 19? I was getting moved up the high side there by Daniel Day, but he's one driver who actually started up at the front and has stayed up at the front, been able to avoid all these incidents and everything, and we know that he's got that same car that he was able to put on the pole position for this race, so he definitely has the speed, and he's won at Castle Gorge this season. It's kind of put some new life into that 19 team.
Well, I was going to say, before Jake went under Sean, you have to remember, like a flashback, with these two working together at Talladega in the Truck Series. I think it was a season ago. These two worked together, and Jake helped Sean actually pick up that victory, and maybe they could possibly work together today once again, even though they're not teammates.
Yeah, you're right. They were former teammates back in the Truck Series. I'd forgotten about that. And the caution is out. Now, I'm not sure what it came out for. There is some smoke there in turn 1 and 2.
It must have happened toward the back of the pack, and it looks like there's probably a possible big wreck back there.
Well, Jordan Hester's coming to pit road. Oh, he's got a lot of damage. He's got damage on the left. He's got some on the right. He's also got some on the rear of his car.
Looks like there's been a situation with like 3 or 4 wide, maybe even 5 wide. Once again, he got pancaked in the middle of it, it looks like.
There's Adam Chambers in the
Adam
29.
Chambers. His luck ran out that time. Those were a couple of drivers actually barely missed that last big wreck, and there were the two in this one. Wow, that's ironic.
Yeah, that is ironic. I mean, Jordan Hester slammed on the brakes, avoided the wreck. Chambers was able to get to the inside, and I'm not sure, but I think we may have actually gotten away with just a 2-car incident.
We kind of got a couple of lucky breaks there. We haven't seen that big one that takes up half the field.
No, you're right, we haven't. I mean, I think the biggest wreck we had was that 5-car pileup. The other 2 cautions were 2-car incidents, but Jake Rogers, the pole sitter, out in front again. We are currently at the state where there are 8 laps to go. We'll probably be around the 5 laps to go window when we go back to green, but let's see what this caution was that came out for the 3rd time today here at M&Ms Superspeedway. Well, here's a look at it, and this incident was going into turn 1. We've had it everywhere around the racetrack today, and again, the bottom 3 cars all kind of crowding each other, and there you see Dylan Young hooking Jordan Hester.
I was going to say, it looks like Hester came down. I think Jordan was trying to avoid Silver Fox. He actually turned down right across the nose of Dylan Young.
Oh, man.
Adam Chambers did not get away with it this time. Looks like Dylan Young actually got away from that wreck without anything happening. Man, 99 and 82 got through there barely. I just looked back there. Did you just notice the 82 and the 09 are right there together?
I just noticed that. Yes, I did. And they got through that incident, so they have found each other here in the closing stages.
I guess they just knew when a wreck was going to happen. But, man, Jordan Hester and Adam Chambers, that was a hard hit. Chambers ran right into the back of that 20 car. That was full speed, too, ladies and gentlemen.
That was pretty close to like where Casey Mears ran to the back of Austin Dillon, just absolutely nowhere to go, dead on into the back.
Yeah, and that's just a tough break. We documented how they had just avoided that last caution, that wreck. Both of them did a great job avoiding it, and they actually are the only 2 cars in this wreck, which is crazy.
Adam Chambers, former Snickers Cup Series champ. Jordan Hester actually was battling for the Snickers Cup Series championship back in Season 1, lost out to his good friend Dougie Shears, but these guys have quite storied histories here in the NNSCRA, and tough break for the both of them here involved in what could be, I'm crossing my fingers, could be our final caution, but we are going to go back to green flag racing for a handful of laps and see what kind of a finish they're going to put on here in the All-Star race.
That wreck.
Getting ready to go back to green flag racing, 4-lap dash to the finish. If the caution comes out at any point during it, the race will be over at the line. We're getting ready for a good old shootout here to finish off the All-Star race.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of people up here toward the front. I've seen a couple of drivers are actually we haven't talked about all day. I'm looking back in 4th place. Danny Wells, we haven't even talked about him all day long. He's up there running really well. Danny ran well in the truck race, looking to try to redeem himself today. And I was looking back at the 69 against Sean Henley. He's been one of those drivers who's been able to keep himself at the front most of this race. And I think he also can possibly work with Danny or Joseph Bryan or another fellow Chevy. And I think they could be able to go up there and go toward the front. But if Galligan and Jake could actually work together, they might be hard to get around since they have past history of being teammates.
Another driver hasn't gotten much TV time, but he's still up in the thick of it right there. Trent Dunham in the 8. I think he's currently
Mr. I hate restrictor plates.
Yeah, I think he's currently running like 10th or 11th place right now. And no, he's actually running 9th, and he's been doing a pretty good job here today, and we haven't talked about him one bit.
Yeah, Trent's actually won a restrictor plate race before recently in the past here in the NNSCRA. I think it was Talladega. I'm not quite sure. It's probably wrong.
It
might
was
have
the
been
Daytona race in season 5, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so Trent knows how to win one of these. He's not a big fan of them, but he's found a way to win one. Trent's actually kept his nose clean. That Sega car is pretty clean today. Trent could have a chance at this, and I'm still wanting to keep an eye on those Masons. Actually, I was looking now. I don't know where they are.
Yeah,
I saw that
Wolfgang currently is in 8th, and Ralph currently runs in the 15th position. So I thought they were actually had found each other. Apparently not.
Well, they got a couple more laps to try to find each other again, but we'll see what happens.
4 more laps for them to try and find each other here and do something in the closing stages. Jake Rogers gets us back underway. 4 laps to go. Can they keep it green for 4 more laps? We've been under 3 cautions. The field has dwindled down a little bit, not too much though.
Joseph's going way low. Danny tried to block him right there. Couldn't do it.
And here comes Galligan down to the bottom of the racetrack looking for the top spot off of Jake Rogers. I think we just got our answer there. They're going 3 wide already. I don't think they're going to try and keep it clean.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm looking back, the 31's back up here once again. James Silverfox, we haven't really talked about him for a few laps. He's worked his way back up there. He's right behind the leader, Sean Galligan. Joseph Bryant getting help right now from Wolfgang Mason. And here comes Trent Dunham on the bottom.
And hey, here's another driver who has restricted plate experience. Won at Talladega earlier on. We haven't talked about Emilio Navrat in the 99. Here he comes behind Hayden Klein.
He actually won a couple of those races that weekend, I believe.
Yes, he did. Went 2 for 3 that race weekend in the trucks and mobile.
So, Emilio definitely has a chance to do this as well. I'm still looking back there again. I'm seeing those Masons are still trying to possibly work together. Not sure. 4 wide for the lead, 5 wide for the lead.
There's Richard Johnson. We haven't talked about him yet, and he's going for the top spot.
Look at them. They're just still spanning out like it's nothing, like it's the first lap.
And
how
interesting is it that we've gone through this entire race and we're seeing drivers up here that we're talking about for the first time all of a sudden. That shows you they've just kind of been hanging back, waiting for their moment.
Yep, that's what some of these drivers, we figured out who did it today, and Richard Johnson's one of them. Just hang around the back until the end and make a run for it.
One car's around, Trent spun around, Ralph Mason's around, and that'll be the caution.
Look at this. And it's going to be for the win.
Richard
Johnson got it.
Under the caution flag is going to win. Wow.
That's very ironic. Just we were talking about when that wreck happened. Richard Johnson looks like he just stole the victory today. I think that was his first lap he's led all race long.
And just think, if they had been able to make it down past the start-finish line, would have had at least 1 more lap around. But what a timely caution for Richard Johnson.
How about that? Hadn't talked to him all race long. He goes up here. He edged out with Daniel Day for the win.
Wow. Richard Johnson ended up winning this season. I believe it was back at Altoona.
Nothing happened to him.
So look here. Trying to see. Yeah, he won at Altoona. And really has not been heard of much since in the Mobil1 Cup Series, but what an unbelievable job for that 28.
We look back there and saw Trent spin, and the unfortunate things about him hating these super speedways, maybe I give him another reason to hate him again. Saw him spin out there, and there's Henley. He was up there running well. He got in it. There's Trent.
I think the 09 of Mason was involved. Yeah, he's actually gone back behind the wall already, I think, and I made a camera fail again.
That camera fail.
Aye. Yeah, Ralph Mason's actually taking his car back.
The budget is getting smaller by the minute.
Richard Johnson just shown the white flag.
Back there.
Let's take an opportunity here, jump back, see what the caution was that ended up giving the win over to Richard Johnson here today. And who would believe it? The drivers who worked together at the end of last year's All-Star race, they're what bring out the caution.
And that's not how you work together, that's for sure. That's not what they did last season. And oh my God!
Oh my word! Wow. Oh!
Well, we got another car flipping. This time it's going in the air. We were trying to reenact last season, I believe, trying to fly to the moon.
Oh my!
There's
goodness.
Henley. He's spinning. Ralph and Wolfgang Mason are wrecking. There's Trent spinning.
Trent spun around. I think this whole thing was triggered by Danny Wells. I think I saw him get into, it might have been the right rear of the 09, but holy cow.
Yeah, I think Danny did cause that to start happening, and the Masons hooked together, and they couldn't get off each other. Just looked like earlier with Eric Burden and George Roke. They got hooked together, couldn't get off each other, and went straight into that wall. That was an awful wreck. And we actually, and just looking at that car, still flipping. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Henley actually
Ralph,
spun down pit road, decided to actually make a random pit stop. Not exactly sure what that was about, but
he's like, I need some tires, maybe some Viagra.
yeah, I think he probably did stop for some Viagra.
He,
Let's rewind it just a little bit here and see if we can find out what happened with Trent and Sean. I think after Danny Wells hooked Mason, whichever one, take your choice, but I think he
it was Ralph.
I think he came back up into Trent. Let's see here. Yeah, he came back up into
Henley's
Trent.
nowhere near Trent.
Wow, Trent hit that wall hard. Oh, Silver Fox got a piece of it.
Yeah, he just went straight down the track.
That's what spun Henley out. Silver
And
Fox.
Henley was heading to that really bad spot.
Look at the 82
Yeah, Silver Fox got away
shoot
with it
back
right
up
there.
the racetrack after hitting the wall. Good grief.
And then the 09's just falling right behind and flying through the air. Yeah, Wolfgang Mason took a couple pretty hard hits himself right there. He didn't go in the air like Ralph did and make it spectacular, but he hit the wall head on a couple of times, pretty hard.
And here's a little bit of
That was
irony.
my pick, sadly.
Do you remember who ended up flipping in the truck race last season?
Was it? I'm trying to think. Was it like the 27?
No, it was McCrory.
Oh, I was
the
thinking McCurry in my
98.
head, but I was thinking wrong number. I was seriously thinking that. Wow.
We just saw Ralph Mason flip up in the air. The two of them are teammates over at Cowtech Racing, the Snickers Cup Series.
Illuminati.
Oh my goodness.
Well, at least I was thinking Anthony in my head, just didn't think the right truck.
There you go.
No, nobody's going to believe
You
that.
should have said what you were thinking.
I should have. I probably would have said Anthony McCurry 27. I've been wrong. It's like, you're half right. Oh.
Yeah, probably.
I think was he like 98?
Yes, he was. He was the 98.
Oh, well, okay, well, I'm
You've
getting
redeemed
somewhere
yourself.
now. I redeemed myself a little too late, and we're just babbling on now.
We are. But nonetheless, the checker flag has waved, and that is your winner for Season 6 in the All-Star race, Richard Johnson. And, of course, it wasn't the final lap, but when that caution came out, it was 1/100th of a second that Richard Johnson beat Daniel Day to the line by.
That finish.
Wow. So Richard Johnson locks himself a spot up in for next year's Mobil1 Cup Series All-Star race. If he ends up signing up, he will come in as the defending race winner. And we've had some surprise winners here this weekend, actually. I mean, Stephen Pollard III coming from out of nowhere, and now Richard Johnson coming out from nowhere. That could be some signs of what's going to happen in the Snickers Cup Series race.
And it's been an all-Ford win weekend, too, so far. Pollard III and now Richard Johnson both been Ford. So it's been a Ford sweep so far in the All-Star races.
Absolutely right. That's very interesting, too. I mean, we normally don't think of Fords when we go to restricted play tracks, but so far they're 2 for 2.
And they finished in the top 3 looking right there with Johnson, Daniel Day, and the one-race deal driver right there in Luke Martin. So Ford really showing up this week for sure here at M&Ms.
No doubt about it.
Those Fords.
Hey. Well, this race
What
is
they got in their
over.
hoods.
And what a spectacular finish. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see what
Wow.
they're going to bring to the table in the Snickers Cup Series race.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see now. We've had a lot of action these first 2 races. Should be a good one, though.
Alright, folks. Hope you enjoyed this event. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. Also, be sure to subscribe to Dillon's channel, Dillon Poteet. Link to his channel is
Me!
in the description. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and Dillon's not going away. We still got a Snickers Cup Series All-Star race to do, which we're looking forward to, so you'll be hearing the same wonderful, informative, random commentary that you've come to enjoy this race weekend. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. So,
I like vegetables. What?
I know you do. So, we hope you guys enjoyed the race. Here comes your official finishing results for today's All-Star race as we get ready to cap off the All-Star race weekend with the run of the Snickers Cup cars before we head into the second half of the regular season. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. Dillon, random comment, please.
Shut up!